And good afternoon, everyone. This is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor. My name is Jim, and this is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog network. This is a directed network, and I am net control. If at any time during this net should an emergency arise, please notify net control, and we'll stand by and allow those in need to access this frequency. Is there any priority or emergency traffic at this time? And hearing nothing, we will continue. This net is all about ham radio and being all that you can be. That's what our Qso-Vlog network is all about, trying to help people achieve the best sounding station possible. Thanks for dropping by. FYI, my background is 50 years in commercial broadcasting, where a lot of big bucks are spent on audio processing equipment and getting it set up correctly to get the loudest, best sounding station possible. Well, long story short, when I became a ham radio operator, I could hear immediately a large discrepancy in on-air technical proficiency. A lot of stations were running with very poor mic equalization, very muddy, with little articulation. And as I continued to work stations, I realized most of the stations were also running very low average peak modulation, many around 30% of average peak modulation. So with my background, I felt I could help, or at least try. I knew that most modern-day ham transceivers did have enough onboard processing equipment to be able to overcome most all of the problems. So it would just be a matter of developing a generic dynamic range setup procedure and then adjusting the onboard EQ gear. And so I started the Qso-Vlog network with the phrase, "If you have a radio you want to check out, give us a shout." And today we're currently featuring over 2,300 Qso-Vlog Aircheck recordings. And we also have a new series called KC9VKV Highlights. That's Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, followed by the word highlights on a YouTube search. These are some of our less technical and more human nature philosophical kinds of QSOs. That's KC9VKV Highlights on a YouTube search. Both KC9VKV Logbook and KC9VKV Highlights are segments of our main YouTube homepage of Jim's Radio Story, where we celebrate a 50-year career in commercial broadcasting, a 50-year journey from a 5-watt pirate radio station as a 12-year-old to production director of a major 50,000-watt AM broadcast facility. And the thing that makes this truly a unique story is I have the actual audio masters from all along the way. Over 2,600 shows, including many full-length music concerts and radio documentaries. You'll have to check it out and subscribe. Jim's Radio Story on a YouTube search. Our mission statement for the Qso-Vlog network is to establish a higher technical level of radio transmissions of the human voice by the intelligent utilization of available electronics in current amateur radio transceivers. Our setup, while generic in nature, converts the average 10 dB dynamic range transmitter with an average 30% of peak modulation to a much fuller 3 dB dynamic range with an average 80 to 85% of peak modulation. This substantial boost in audio transmit level is extremely beneficial in high noise levels and heavy QRM. It allows you to punch through when others fail. The second part of our transmitter setup has to do with proper mic equalization. We're looking to optimize the transmitted voice for a higher degree of intelligibility through the use of EQ patterns that bring out the articulation aspects of the human voice. Again, why need to hear the voice if you can't understand the words? Also this afternoon on the receive side, we're running 4 Internet SDR receivers, monitoring New York, Pennsylvania, Georgia, and Virginia, trying to get the best copy from our 100-watt friends. Now the audio from these 4 SDR receivers comes up on a 6-position rotary selector. Also in this selector is our local receiver audio. And today, our local receiver is running 3 large 10-foot vertical magnetic loop antennas. One aimed at 0 degrees, one aimed at 90 degrees, and the number 3 is aimed at 134 degrees. These are run as a directional scanner array with a manual voting system 6-position rotary selector. Also today, on the transmit side, we'll be running our no SWR specially oriented resonant dipole antenna. One leg of this resonant dipole runs broadside to Montreal, Canada. The other leg runs broadside to Miami, Florida. As we were constructing our station, our mantra was 20 over from Montreal to Miami with a hotspot through the Carolinas. And although conditions may vary, the general performance of this antenna supports its mission. Also today, we'll be running our input source indicator, so when we switch from an internet SDR receiver to our local receiver, you'll be able to hear the switch and see the switch. You'll have to check it out on our YouTube Qso-Vlog video. And as we come together for another Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog network, let us pause just a moment for the amateur radio operator's prayer. Lord, we pray for clear 20 over S9 communications today. Let all our transmissions fill the air and reach their destinations QSA5 to be understood by all. And as we pray for good radio conditions, let us also pray for good human conditions. During this time of pandemic that has challenged us all, we pray that you will protect everyone, especially our elderly. And we seek your divine intervention to bring peace to a very divided United States. As we go through a very conflicting time in America's history, with dark clouds all around, help us to communicate with one another 20 over S9. Thank you, Lord, and God bless and protect America. Amen. To continue, since this part of the band has many nets trying to operate in a very confined area, I would appreciate all stations checking into our Qso-Vlog net to keep their bandpass to no wider than 100 to 2900. And again, please, no wider than 100 to 2900. This is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog network. And now let's check in and see if Charlie, K1GZL, is on frequency to bring us up to date on the latest 40-meter band propagation. Charlie's QTH is up north in northern New Hampshire, near the Canadian border. Charlie, got a copy?
Hampshire, near the Canadian border. Charlie, got a copy?
Yes, I do, Jim. I was almost a little bit late today, but we're here. You're peaking 9 to 15 over direct. I'm receiving you on my quad. Still have to do a little more work on it, but it's coming along. Beautiful, beautiful day, up to about 60 degrees, and very, very nice outside. I wonder how you are copying K1GZL. I don't know if Milford is better today or whatever. Go ahead.
It's Milford. You're 35 over on Milford.
It's Milford. You're 35 over on Milford.
Okay, I'm glad to know we're readable. Yes, I had a wonderful contact with Captain Mike in the aircraft on the Boeing 767, and I picked him up over Wyoming. He was very good, but I've got a short recording of him as he was in very, very close to southwest of Chicago, and most of this, believe it or not, was on 40 meters, right here on 40 meters, down around 7145, but we had to use upper sideband, as of course with the military equipment, they only have upper sideband on where the 40 meters work. But anyway, here is Captain Mike this morning.
Gary now, Gary, Indiana. Okay, I'll QSY to 40 meters upper sideband, KH4 Whiskey German, and 73, Mike.
That was funny right there.
Whiskey Charlie, 20 miles west of Fort Wayne, Indiana, at 39,000, and you're 5'9 plus, Charlie. 5'9 plus, ETA in the Phillies, 2 o'clock. We're 520 miles right now from Philadelphia, and the temperature up here today is minus 58. Nice to hear you in there, Charlie. K1GZL, KH4 Whiskey Charlie. Roger, we're on 40 meters upper sideband, 7145. Back to you, Charlie. Ramp Philadelphia on 40 meters upper sideband. You're 5'9 plus there, Charlie. How many over? KH4 Whiskey Charlie on the ramp. You're facing north on 40 meters upper sideband, and you're 5'9 plus. Great copy on you there, Charlie. K1GZL, KH4 Whiskey Charlie.
Okay, there you are. He was on the ramp at the end of that, and believe it or not, on the ramp with 400 watts and just that 8-foot antenna connected to the tail, he had one peak of 35 over 9. And when he was in northern Indiana, when we had switched over to 40, he was peaking 30 and 35 over 9. I picked him up. The first you heard was just a little bit of 20 meters, but 40 we took over, and I was glad to be able to use the quad. KC9VKV K1GZL. I hope that was readable.
Oh, excellent, Charlie. Just perfect. And I was just thinking, you would think that shorter antenna that he transmits on would favor more 20 meters than it would 40 meters, Roger?
Would favor more 20 meters than it would 40 meters, Roger?
Well, I don't know how they've got the tuner on there. I'm not certain how that works, Jim. But the efficiency on his aircraft is absolutely unbelievable. I have worked him on 75 meters on that band. It's not as good because you got to realize how big a half wave is on 75, and when you have something 8 feet, it's a little bit on the short side. Go ahead.
Oh, roger that. Well, I have heard some international aircraft use HF, and they, it's sideband, and they really sound pretty loud. They're probably a lot of those are halfway between here and there.
They're probably a lot of those are halfway between here and there.
Oh yeah, it's incredible. That's the thing about ham radio. You don't know what you're going to run into as far as propagation, what somebody is running, and if propagation is just right, you can get away with next to nothing. It's terrific. In fact, here you are at 9 plus. Right now, I'm receiving you on my quad here on 40 meters direct up here in northern New Hampshire. Here you are. I hope.
Use HF and they pretty loud, they're probably a lot of those are halfway between here and there,
Okay, I had a cut out there for a split second, but outside of that, I hope you could hear it. KC9VKV K1GZL. Look, I'll catch you hopefully next Friday. We'll catch you hopefully next Friday, and we'll see if we can have communication like this. It's terrific, and I couldn't get over Captain Mike with the signal he can put out, even on the ground, sitting on the ramp in Philadelphia, hitting 35 over 9, and just incredible. And that was on 40 at the end there when I recorded him. KC9VKV K1GZL.
Roger, Charlie. Well, let me say 73 of that way, sir. Always a pleasure. Thanks for dropping by and getting our show underway. And hopefully we'll be able to check in next Friday with you. And you have a great afternoon, beautiful weekend coming up. 73. Just a reminder, this is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog network. My name is Jim, and I'm better known in some circles as Dr. VKV. And we're recording now live till 5, so if you have a radio you want to check out, give us a shout. We'll post this recording up on YouTube in the next couple of days. So when you go to YouTube, just do a call letter search for KC9VKV, followed by the word logbook. That's Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, followed by the word logbook. And that'll take you to our YouTube Qso-Vlog page, where we're currently featuring over 2,300 Qso-Vlog Aircheck recordings. And this recording will be cut number 1 in that series. We also have a new series called KC9VKV Highlights. That's Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, followed by the word highlights on a YouTube search. These are some of our less technical and more human nature, philosophical kinds of QSOs. You'll have to check it out. KC9VKV Highlights on a YouTube search. And without further ado, let's open it up. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout. Kilowatt 3, kilowatt Delta X-ray.
Delta X-ray station, come back and give me your call sign slowly phonetically again.
Station, come back and give me your call sign slowly phonetically again. Kilowatt 3, kilowatt Delta X-ray.
Kilowatt Delta X-ray, Roger. What's the name there?
Kilowatt Delta X-ray, Roger. What's the name there? The name here is Ken, Kilo Echo November.
Roger, Ken, and whereabouts are you located, sir?
Roger, Ken, and whereabouts are you located, sir? I'm right at the Mason-Dixon line in Maryland.
Roger, Roger. And Ken, what radio are you running today, sir?
Roger, Roger. And Ken, what radio are you running today, sir? I'm running a 7300 into a Heil microphone with 100 watts and a DX Commander vertical antenna.
Yes, sir. Ken, well, if you'd be interested in our setup procedure, it starts with you checking to verify that you're in that wide transmit bandpass of 100 to 2900. That's what we recommend for that radio will be the best setting for maximum performance, and that's 100 to 2900. Roger, Roger.
Maximum performance, and that's 100 to 2900. Roger, Roger. Roger, Roger. I am in that, and let's see what else I have here. I have compression only at 1 and mic gain down to 45%.
Roger, Roger. Okay, part of our setup procedure starts with you engaging your compressor at a 3. That's a token amount. You'll never hear it on the air, but it helps us achieve our 3 dB dynamic range at the end of the setup. And we go from a 10 dB dynamic range transmitter to a 3 dB dynamic range transmitter, and one from 30% modulation to between 80 and 85%. Starts with the compressor engaged at a 3, Roger?
85%. Starts with the compressor engaged at a 3, Roger. Roger, compressor is now at a 3.
Yes, sir. Now we move to the ALC with mic gain in hand. And as you say the magic word audio, don't stress it, but just say it as you would say any other word in a QSO. Audio, stretch it out, and adjust your mic gain until your ALC meter is running 2/3. Roger?
Adjust your mic gain until your ALC meter is running 2/3. Roger? Roger.
Did you get it there? You want to try again?
Okay, done. Did you get it there? You want to try again? Sure, I will try again. I'm just about 2/3 peaking at a little less than 100.
Roger, Roger. Well, we're looking for that 2/3 on the ALC. That's beautiful. That will give you a 3 dB dynamic range and an 80 to 85% of average peak modulation. Now, let's move to your equalization page, if you would.
Now, let's move to your equalization page, if you would. Okay, give me 1 second.
That's in settings.
Okay, I am there. That's in settings.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We doubled a little bit there. Got a little latency on my SDR. Anyway, what we want is 2 clicks boost treble EQ from where you are, plus 2 clicks treble EQ boost from where you are at the moment.
You are, plus 2 clicks treble EQ boost from where you are at the moment. Okay, that is 2 clicks from where I was.
All right, sir, and I want you to tell me in 10 seconds or so about the best thing you like about your radio, sir.
10 seconds or so about the best thing you like about your radio, sir. Well, I love the filtering on the 7300, and I like the audio quality on the 7300.
All right, Ken, and what is your setting on treble EQ right at the moment?
Ken, and what is your setting on treble EQ right at the moment? At the moment, my treble is at +5.
You're maxed out there. Well, tell you what, let's take one click back on the bass line. One click back on the bass. Roll the bass one click, and let me hear you that way.
Roll the bass one click, and let me hear you that way. Okay, I've taken the bass back one click, and it is at 0. Treble is at +5.
Yes, sir. I think that's just great there. And so why don't you give me about 10 or 15 seconds? I want to get a good recording here now. You're sounding so good. Tell me about the best thing you like about ham radio.
Sounding so good. Tell me about the best thing you like about ham radio. Well, let's see. I started many years ago with an interest in radio. Never got my ticket. I finally hit a magical birthday and said, I'm finally going to do it. So I went and took my tests and got my ticket. It is I've had for a lifetime.
Roger. So you're running 100 watts, is that a Roger?
Roger. So you're running 100 watts, is that a Roger? Roger, 100 watts into a vertical antenna.
Yes, sir. I just checked down in Georgia, and you were there, but maybe about only 2 dB or so. So I was thinking maybe you sounded so good on Milford, I thought you might be running a little bit of power, but that's a really good signal, Roger.
Be running a little bit of power, but that's a really good signal, Roger. Roger. Well, thank you. Again, the antenna, the DX Commander, is instead of all the other. I use that pretty much instead of all the other antennas.
Roger. I'm just curious now. You know, you're vertical. I sure wish that at some point you could do maybe a dipole, horizontal dipole. You know, and get you an AB switch, so you can switch back and forth. Then it would be the best of both worlds. Because even in a QSO, sometimes transmissions change phase and go vertical. And if you're locked on that horizontal or locked on that vertical and it goes horizontal, you're going to miss some. But if you have a selector there and you have both vertical and horizontal, you have some good options, Roger.
And you have both vertical and horizontal. You have some good options, Roger. Roger. That is my intent, and I have an off-center fed dipole. Unfortunately, I do not have it hooked up at the moment. I have an OCF about 90-some feet. That is my goal, is to get an AB switch and to be able to switch between the two. Roger?
Yes, sir. And be sure when you do that you label very clearly the leads going into that switch, so you know exactly what you're doing, because some folks, if they have an option of this or that, they choose the wrong one at the wrong time. So I've always found that labeling cables, particularly going into a switch, is very important, Roger.
Cables, particularly going into a switch, is very important, Roger. Roger. And what I've, just as an FYI, what I do utilize is I have a loop antenna that I use for receive, and I run that into my SDR on my computer. And so I can receive on the loop and have a rotator on that for receive, but that certainly does not help me at all on the TX side. Roger?
Yes, sir. Now, and FYI, I've conducted many tests with my horizontal dipole versus my 10-foot vertical magnetic loops, and all the time, almost 99% of the time, the dipole went out over the loop. And like I say, these are large 10-foot vertical magnetic loops, but the dipole is usually a 2 or 3 dB hotter than the loops. And the other thing is, if maybe with 100 watts it's not that important, but if you're using 2 antennas, you should always put a mute on that second antenna. So when you're in transmit, that second receive antenna is not pulling juice into your radio, Roger.
That second receive antenna is not pulling juice into your radio, Roger. Roger. Great advice. Well, look, thank you for the help. I do appreciate it, and I'll let some others get in here and pick your brain a little bit, and hopefully we can chat again sometime. Thanks again, 73K3KDX.
Roger, Ken, 73 there, sir. And if you want to hear your audio, if you go to YouTube and do a call and a search for KC9VKV, followed by the word highlight, it'll take you to our Qso-Vlog page, and this will be cut number 1 in a series of 2,300 Qso-Vlog Aircheck recordings, and I'll have it uploaded by noon tomorrow. So 73 Ken, have a great afternoon, beautiful weekend. This is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog Net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Vlog Net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout. Field 4 is 30.
Something 4, a station with a 4 in there, come back slowly, phonetically with your call sign.
A station with a 4 in there, come back slowly, phonetically with your call sign. Kilo, Oscar 4, Foxtrot, Charlie.
All right, I got Kilo, Oscar 4, Foxtrot, and then you got hit with some disturbance. So that station, come back and give me your call sign one more time.
Station, come back and give me your call sign one more time. Kilo, Oscar 4, Foxtrot, Charlie.
Foxtrot, Charlie, and give me the last one.
Foxtrot, Charlie, and give me the last one. Oscar.
Foxtrot, Charlie, Oscar, is that a Roger?
Foxtrot, Charlie, Oscar, is that a Roger? Roger.
All right, Foxtrot, Charlie, Oscar. What's the name there?
All right, Foxtrot, Charlie, Oscar. What's the name there? Name is Bob, located in Dyer, Tennessee, up in the western part of the state.
Roger, Bob. And what radio are you running today, sir?
Roger, Bob. And what radio are you running today, sir? Running the 101 Delta and a 8-knob 1200 amp with a Cobra Senior and about 45.
All right, Bob. I just checked around to see if I can find us a better path, and I thought maybe if I went down to Georgia, I could copy you a little bit better. And I did hear you down there, but I still have a better copy on the Milford SDR. So if you'd be interested in our setup procedure, the first thing would be to check to be sure that your radio is in that 100 to 2900 band pass, if you can. And if you're not familiar with that, just to take a note then, to check at your leisure to see if that radio is in the 100 to 2900 transmit band pass, or the best band pass that radio has. That's what we're looking for. And so, current radios say they can exceed 2900, but what happens if you get too wide? It's like you get loud and draw a crowd. So 100, I found that 100 to 2900 is the best option. Roger.
100 to 2900 is the best option. Roger.
All right, so then our setup procedure starts with your compressor being turned on and at a 3. Compression on and at a 3. Roger?
And at a 3. Compression on and at a 3. Roger.
All right, and then we move to our ALC, and with mic gain in hand. And as you say the magic word audio and you stretch it out, don't stress it, but just say it as you would say any other word in a QSO. And as you stretch that audio out with the mic gain, I want you to adjust it to where your ALC is running at 2/3. Roger?
To where your ALC is running at 2/3. Roger?
Oh, anyway, Bob, are you taking notes, or you're trying to adjust as we go along?
Taking notes, or you're trying to adjust as we go along?
No, I was writing down what you was handing me. I wasn't sure where to locate the band that's on here, so I was just writing it down.
Yes, sir, that's fine. That's fine. And the only thing is, when we get to, well, I can give you that. When we get to, you've got the compression on at a 3, you've got the ALC running 2/3 as you adjust your mic gain, as you say the word audio, and stretching it out there. So your human test tone, audio, and that's just beautiful word for just setting that to ALC exactly on 2/3. Then I want you to move to your EQ page, and I want you to crank in 2 clicks additional treble EQ from where you are, plus 2 clicks treble EQ from where you are. And do you know what kind of equalizer that radio has?
From where you are. And do you know what kind of equalizer that radio has? I do not.
Yes, sir. Okay, well, a couple of more notes then. If it's an 8-band EQ, we want everything between 400 cycles and from 400 cycles to 1.5. We want those flat, 0, neither cut nor boost. Everything from 400 cycles to 1.5 kc flat. And then at 2.7 kc, we want that at plus 3 from where it is. Plus 3 clicks additional EQ from where it is at the moment. And that would be, if you don't have 2.7, if you have like a 2 and a 4, okay, then you would have to split the difference there, 2K plus 2 dB and plus 4 dB at 4K. That should suffice. The thing is, a lot of folks, manufacturers wind up putting third octave equalizers in, and unfortunately, the main frequency for cut or boost on the treble is 2.7. So when they do a third octave equalizer, it goes 2.4, 2K and 4K, and just skips right over 2.7, which is the perfect frequency for boost. Roger?
7, which is the perfect frequency for boost. Roger?
Well, Bob, if you've got those notes, sir, go ahead and crank those in at your leisure, and then maybe join us next week, and let me hear those numbers. Roger.
Next week, and let me hear those numbers. Roger.
Roger said the band has 100.
Yes, sir, Bob. The transfer bandpass should be 100 to 2900. Now, if your radio is older, it may not be able to go all the way to 2900. It may be less, but we want to operate that radio in the best mode possible. The highest, from 2900 is ideal, but you might have a 2.4. I'm not really sure about your radio, so you'll have to read up on that. And like I say, if it can go to 100 to 2900, that's where we want to put it. Roger?
If it can go to 100 to 2900, that's where we want to put it. Roger?
Roger. Now, I'll get started on this and see what I can find, and be back for you next week.
Yes, sir, Bob. That's great, sir. And if you want to hear your audio right at the moment, we're recording now. And so if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for KC9VKV, followed by the word highlights, KC9VKV followed by the word logbook, that will take you to this recording. That's KC9VKV followed by the word logbook on a YouTube search, and that'll take you to this recording, and I'll have it uploaded by noon tomorrow. Roger?
Recording, and I'll have it uploaded by noon tomorrow. Roger? Roger.
All righty, Bob. 73, sir. You have a great afternoon and a beautiful weekend, and we'll be looking for you next Friday. This is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
a radio you want to check out. Give me a shout.
November 9, Juliet Echo Mike. Mike.
Juliet Echo Mike or Mike?
Mike.
All right, Juliet Echo Mike. And what's the name there?
The name here is Richard.
Roger, Roger, Richard. And where are you located, sir?
I'm 100 miles northeast of St. Louis, Missouri, a little town called Nokomis, Illinois there, Roger.
Roger. And what state is that?
Illinois.
Roger, Roger, Richard. And what radio are you running today, sir?
I'm on the 7300.
All right, sir. I've got you on my local 10-foot vertical magnetic loop at probably about 7 over, so I got a pretty good signal on you. So if you're interested in a setup procedure, it starts with you taking a look at your transmitter bandpass. We want to be in that 100 to 2900 transmitter bandpass setting, and that should be in settings on that 7300. Roger?
Roger, Roger. That's where it's set at.
Excellent, excellent. Now, we want to go to a compressor on at a 3. And it's something that you'll never really hear on the air, but it helps us achieve our 3 dB dynamic range at the end of the setup. So it'll be compression on at a 3. Roger?
Roger, Roger.
Oh.
But it's on.
Yes, sir. At a 3. Roger, Roger?
Roger, Roger.
All righty, now let's go to our AOC with mic gain in hand. And as you say the magic word, audio, and you become a human signal generator there with that word. Don't stress the word, just say it like you would say any other word in a QSO, but stretch it out just a little bit, and you want to adjust your mic gain until you're 2/3 on your AOC reading. Roger?
Roger. Audio. Okay, I got it.
All right, just for kicks, try it on the first syllable, the part. The O is a little hot, but the and I know I'm stretching straws here, but I always use the part to set that. Roger?
Roger. Now do what now?
All right, I want you to double check your setting and use the word the first part of audio as opposed to the O part. The part to set your level. Roger?
Roger, Roger. Okay, I got it now.
All right, sir. Now let's move to your equalization page. And I want you to add 2 clicks treble EQ from where you are. First off, so that'll be EQ page plus 2 clicks treble EQ boost from where you are.
All right.
And then I want you to tell me about 10 seconds or so and tell me about your antenna system.
All right, I got it. Finally found it. Yeah, I got about what you said. What I'm running here, I'm running a 1,000-foot loop, about 52 foot off the ground in a square.
1,000 foot, man! You're serious.
Well, it works good.
I imagine. Next thing, you'll be stretching out some rhombics on your property.
Middle of no man's land. I got 4 towers up, and I got it hanging about 15 foot from each tower. And then the northwest one, I got a boat winch on it, and then I string it piano wire tight there. Go ahead.
Roger, Roger. Now, essentially, is that like a circle pattern? Is it like in a big circle, or is it in a square? I'm just curious if it could possibly be directional. Roger, Roger?
It's in a square. No, it's not directional. It works real good. I got from the loop down to the 4-to-1 ballon, I got 48 foot of
450 ohm ladder was. And then from the ballon into the back of my tuner, I got 9 foot of 7/8 card line there. Go ahead.
Oh, Roger. I was just checking out some of my antennas there, and I've got a switch here that's got the 3 loops on it. The 3 10-foot vertical magnetic loops, one's at 0 degrees, one's at 90 degrees, and the other's at 146 degrees. And I use them as a scanner. The first loop I built, I put it on a rotor, and I said, well, I can go anywhere now with this rotor. But the thing is, the rotor's so slow that, it's just a pain in the whatever. So I said, well, okay, let me try a scanner array. So I built 2 more 10-foot vertical magnetic loops. I put one at 0 degrees, one at 90 degrees, and one at 136 degrees, and then a switch, and I can just zing through those in about a second or so and get the hottest one. And right now, you're coming in on my 0 degree loop, and you're about 4 dB hotter than my resonant dipole antenna, Roger.
Roger. Yeah. So I could tell that you switched antennas because you jumped from a F10 to 25 over there. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. I'm actually just switching my receiver antennas. My transmitter is always on my dipole. I find that over a period of time that I've done many tests with the dipole versus the 10-foot vertical mag loops, and the dipole is always 2 or 3 dB hotter. So for that reason, I just in transmit I'm always on the dipole. In receive, I have all those receive options, though, Roger.
Roger. Yeah, the band's going up and down a little bit. That's what it is. When you said that, because that last transmission, you went all the way down to an S9, then you climbed all the way back up to 25 over again there. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. I spent many nights at an SDR 600 miles away doing tests between my 10-foot vertical mag loops at a kilowatt versus my dipole antenna at a kilowatt, and invariably the dipole was hotter. And I even tried different directions. I was thinking, because a dipole is horizontal, and it does tend to radiate broadband to the dipole, that we could be, doing that, favoring the SDR. But I went through quite a few SDRs, and even rotating the mag loops for max, and always the dipole was 3 dB hotter, 2 to 3 dB hotter than any of the mag loops, Roger.
Roger. Yeah, I've never run a dipole. I got my license in '92, and I put this big loop up, and that's the only antenna that I've ever talked on that, and a vertical there. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Well, the whole name of the game is options, and the best thing is the best antenna at the best place at the right time. So if the more options you have as far as antennas, the better you are as far as taking advantage of the current situation, Roger.
Roger. Yeah, I got a 80-foot fold over sitting in the middle of this loop. I've been wanting to put an antenna on it, but I haven't decided which one I'm going to put up there. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. You primarily on HF? Do you do any VHF, UHF?
Yeah, I do. I got a 60-foot tower up on the north side of the house that's got my 2 meter and 440 and on it, and a vertical 2 meter 440 vertical, and I do a lot of talking on 2 meters and 442 there. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Well, I tell you what, man, if you ever want to have a good time, get yourself a GP9 at 50 feet or so, and you can't really control it because it's omnidirectional, but boy, when things start to roll, you can just sit back. You've got, I did a lot of stuff on our repeaters, and it was really interesting when Skip started to roll, man. I get 6 or 7 stations on the same frequency, you know.
Hi, Roger. Yeah, I got what I'm using for 2 meter. I got a set of 13 V2 stack, and then above that there I got a 22 element M square, and then above that I got a set of 12 element. Above that I got a set of 12 element 440. A 2 meter 440 vertical there. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. And I just went around the horn on my internet SDRs. You're pretty loud there down in Georgia and around. But my best copy is still on my my local 10-foot vertical mag loop. So I think you're sounding pretty good there, Richard. If you want to hear your signal, if you go to YouTube, do a call letter search, KC9VKV, followed by the word logbook. That will take you to this recording, and I'll have it uploaded by noon tomorrow. Roger?
Roger, will do there. Hey, thanks for talking to me, and you sound excellent ever since you answered me there. So I'll get out of here and catch you a little later there, Roger.
Yes, sir. Richard 73, sir. You have a great afternoon, beautiful weekend, and if you get a chance, join us next Friday. This is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog net. From now until 5, we record live, and if you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
And if you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout. Kilo 4, Lima Juliet Echo Mobile.
Was that Kilo 4 something Juliet Echo?
That's Kilo 4 something Juliet Echo. It was a kilowatt 4 Lima Juliet Echo. Jim in North Carolina.
Hello, Jim in North Carolina, buddy. How you doing, sir?
Hello, Jim in North Carolina, buddy. How you doing, sir? I'm doing good. You on the truck yesterday evening. I put a diamond monoband antenna on my Ram pickup truck. So this is one of my first QSOs on this thing, and I hope we're coming through okay.
Yes, sir. I'm copying you. Looks to be about 8 dB over my noise level. I'm picking you up on my 36 degree 10-foot vertical mag loop, and you helped me find that North Carolina direction on that very antenna, Roger.
Yes, I did. I remember that. I was just messing around. I think I was off that afternoon. Of course, I'm off a whole lot there according to the XYL, but yeah, I had fun doing that, and yeah, you're doing great. I'm glad you copied me on your mag loop. What are you transmitting on?
You faded right at that last. Repeat your last question.
I said, what are you transmitting on?
I'm transmitting on a resonant dipole antenna. I always transmit on my resonant dipole antenna. My receiver is the one that has all the options. I'm running 3 10-foot vertical magnetic loops. One is at 0 degrees, one's at 90 degrees, and then one's in your direction at 136 degrees. And then I'm running also 4 internet SDR receivers, Roger, from New York, Georgia, Arlington, Virginia, and New York, Roger.
Oh, yeah, well, very good. And I'm telling you one thing, I think you bettered yourself. You're running the 7300, I believe, and I think you did a good thing when you went to that. So you're sounding better than you've ever sounded. Roger?
Well, thank you very much, sir. I'm still on my other radio. I've got the 7300 sitting there looking like that, ready to jump in at any time. But right now, you know, my dad used to say, if it's not fixed, if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Okay, well, what did you do? You sound different on your 991.
This is the 990, and it's the same hookup as always, Roger. You must got a better radio.
Well, I must have. I'm listening to you. Well, I must have. I'm listening to you. Maybe there's a difference in my radio, sure enough. I'm listening to you on a TF440 Sugar in
would rig here in the mobile. So maybe I ought to just take this radio wherever I go there, Roger.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Got my seal of approval for sure. And I just went up on Milford, and I'm copying you. I copied you down in Georgia, Arlington, Virginia, Rochester, New York, and hottest copy was in Milford, and you look to be about 15 over, 10 to 15 over on Milford, Roger.
About 15 over, 10 to 15 over on Milford, Roger.
Okay, well, we're running like I say, a Kenwood PS440 and running the compression on it a fair amount, not too much, and we're running the stock hand mic on this thing. So thank you very much for the report there, Jim.
Roger, Jim. Well, listen, good to hear you there, buddy, and I'm glad you checked in. I always love to hear your bass because you're so dominant on that bass, Roger.
I always love to hear your bass because you're so dominant on that bass, Roger.
Oh, okay, well, thank you. Yeah, we were born with kind of a frog voice, so thank you so very much, Jim, and if I don't talk to you again, I hope to retire. When springtime comes. So, Lord willing, when springtime comes, I'm going to make it until the end of February. We're going to give it up here. We call to work. The end of February, and we're going to give it up here as far as this thing we call to work. 73, thank you. God bless. Take it away. KC9VKV, K4LJE.
Roger, Jim. 73 up that way, sir, and you'll have plenty of time to work on your tower and get all those wire antennas squared away, and you have options. You'll have 4 or 5 different antennas on a rotary switch there, and you'll be in tall clover. 73, Jim. Good to hear you. Catch you later. This is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog net. We're recording now live till 5, so if you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Now live till 5, so if you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Kilo 2, Victor India.
Kilo 2, Victor India, and what's the name there?
2, Victor India, and what's the name there?
You got Tony over here. Tony, Tango Oscar, November Yankee, and we're in Virginia Beach, Virginia.
Boy, Tony, you're loud. You're beautiful there. Sounds really good. If you would like, let's just verify a couple of things. What radio are you running there, Tony?
Let's just verify a couple of things. What radio are you running there, Tony?
Yeah, this is the Yaesu FTDX 3000, and I'm running power. Let me see exactly. Peak power right now is around 700 watts into an 80-meter loop fed with ladder line coming down to a 1-to-1 balun, and the loop is up at 70 feet. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Okay, Tony, if you'd be interested in our setup procedure, it starts with you double-checking to be sure you're in that 100 to 2900 transmit bandpass mode, 100 to 2900. If you're not familiar with it, just take a note on that and, check it out at your leisure, Roger.
Note on that and, check it out at your leisure, Roger.
Yeah, I think I'm around 29. Give or take.
Yes, sir. Double check. We recommend 100 to 2900. It is a nice performance level for your radio. If you go past 2900, you have people that come looking for you with pitchforks. So you want to try not to go past 2900. That gives you a little buffer there, keeps you from being too wide. Roger.
900. That gives you a little buffer there, keeps you from being too wide. Roger.
Okay, so you say I'm wide?
No. I'm just saying that the best, we have found that the best setup on your transmitter is 100 to 2900, and that's what we recommend that, everybody run, 100 to 2900. I mean, it's just a suggestion. You're welcome to do whatever you need to do, but we've found that we can get a nice bright signal on 100 to 2900,
A nice bright signal on 100 to 2900,
Okay. Well, hold on for a second. Okay, well, let's see.
Yeah, Tony, are you running a Vox?
Is that any better? That's 2600.
Yeah, Tony, are you running a Vox?
No Vox. But this, I got it. This is 2600 right now, so it's 200 and 2800 at the top.
All right, we want 100 to 2900. Follow my lips. 100 to 2900 if you have it.
Follow my lips. 100 to 2900 if you have it.
Well, I'm 100 to 2900. I'm going to be wide. Okay. Right now I'm at 200 to 2800. So my bandwidth is 2600. And you said 100 to 2900 or less. So we did a little less. You want to be specific? I mean, you want 2900? I can give you 100 to 2900. I give you whatever you want. But I don't understand what you're getting at here.
Yes, sir. I'm just suggesting that we suggest that folks operate in the 100 to 2900 bandpass, transmit bandpass mode. That's considered by Yaesu and them folks as, quote, wide, end quote, 100 to 2900. And that's the highest they have as far as a calibration point. And I agree that, that's a good place to be, 100 to 2900. When you exceed 2900, then you have the possibility of starting to generate little love beads out beyond where you should be or would be nice to be at less than 3K. So we just suggest that folks run 100 to 2900. But obviously you're sail your ship, and you should do whatever you want. But our suggestion is 100 to 2900, just a small matter. And we do that, suggest that at the beginning of our setup because, it will affect your top end. When you start rolling off from 2900 to those lesser frequencies, you're really chopping off your top. And the top is where all your articulation for your words are. So we want to keep that as best we can, and we found that 100 to 2900 does that. Okay, so once past all of that stuff, our setup procedure is compression on at a 3. Compressor on at a 3. It's a token amount, something you'll never hear on the air, but it helps us achieve our 3 dB dynamic range at the end of our setup. So it's compression on at a 3. Roger?
At the end of our setup. So it's compression on at a 3. Roger?
Okay, well, right now, we're in no compression, and I'm 200 to 2800. Okay? So, understand, I'm at 200 to 2800, that's 2600. Is that unacceptable? Because I'm running at 2600 or 2.6K wide right now. You're saying you want me to go wider than I am right now? Because I can, but I am running a little bit narrower bandpass now. So you're saying to widen it up to 100 to 2900, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct, 2.8.
To 2.9, 2900. 100 to 2900. It's called wide mode in most new receivers. Of course you can get wider, but that's not, I don't think, a good idea. So we recommend 100 to 2900. But you can do whatever you need. But the thing is, we can brighten you up through EQ. You do need a little more top in there, Tony. So, but I would like to hear you in that 100 to 2900 mode before we start cranking EQ to try to make up deficiencies that you're dialing back by not going to 2900.
Deficiencies that you're dialing back by not going to 2900.
Okay. All right, I'll do it.
Just do it.
Yeah, right? Okay, hold on. Okay. And there you go. 100 to 2900, and I'm not running any compression. Now, we could put the compression on with a flick of a switch, and now the compression's on.
Roger, Tony, 3 out of 10. 3 out of 10. Or 30 out of 100, depending on how your input to the compressor is labeled. 3 out of 10 or 30 out of 100.
Input to the compressor is labeled. 3 out of 10 or 30 out of 100.
Yeah, I'm running about 5 dB of compression right now.
I don't think this guy wants help.
Well, we're getting there. He's running about 5 dB, which is considered light, and that's exactly what we're saying there. We only want about a third of the compression capabilities. Just a third. 3 out of 10, 30 out of 100. And I think that's where you are, Tony. So now, why don't you tell me about your antenna system in 30 seconds, and let me listen to you.
Why don't you tell me about your antenna system in 30 seconds, and let me listen to you.
Okay, well, it's an 80-meter delta loop. Okay, it's perfect horizontal. It's up at 70 feet. C-point is in one of the corners of the delta, and running about 105 feet. I believe it's about 105 feet of 450 on ladder line, coming right out here to the windowsill, which is right here, to a 1-to-1 Ballon design Ballon, and then a 3-foot piece of coax right to an ATR-30 Ameritron antenna tuner, and then feeding a Ameritron ALS 1300, and of course the radio's an FPDX 3000. So that's the situation here. The audio equipment is an RE27, and it's going into an EQ Plus by W2IHY.
Okay, external EQ only. You're going in high level. Is that a Roger?
External EQ only. You're going in high level. Is that a Roger?
Well, no. I also have the EQ in the radio, EQ specifically to kind of mimic the EQ Plus and the 8-band EQ. So it's all, EQ'd in the same properties from 50 hertz all the way up to 3200 hertz.
Roger. Now, do you run both of them simultaneously in stereo, or how do you do that? Or what do you do?
Simultaneously in stereo, or how do you do that? Or what do you do?
Yeah, they're both. Yeah, the EQ is actuated in the radio, the internal EQ in the radio, and the EQ. So it's all actuated. Everything is all in. The only thing I lack with audio, I believe, is my voice, and that we can't make a modification on that.
Oh, well, that's what an equalizer's all about, Tony. I mean, come on now, think about it. You have pluses and minuses, and if you're light, you can be heavy, or you can be anybody through EQ. I mean, that's Pandora's box. We do recommend, though, that everything between 400 cycles and 1.6K be flat, because even a cheap microphone is somewhat flat with the mid-range. It's where you get to the bottom end and the top end that usually the difference is between microphones. So we recommend that the equalizer be flat between 400 cycles and 1.5K. And when you do that, then you have a nice linear mid-range, and depending on the equalizer that you have, the nice top end is if you have an adjustable parametric EQ, it's 2.7K with the 4 is that nice top end, nice silk top end, and the other push point is 200 cycles on the bottom end. Roger.
Push point is 200 cycles on the bottom end. Roger.
Oh yeah, and that's exactly the way I have it running. 400 is flat, 800 is flat, 1600 is flat, 2400 starts peaking to about 4 dB, and then 3200 at about 8 dB. On the other side of that, 200 is about 4 dB, 100 is about 6 dB, and 50 is it's like a smile, And then the EQ Plus, bass and treble are slightly advanced from 12 o'clock.
Yes, sir, Tony. I just flipped over to my local antenna, and I've got you just a little bit on my local antenna, and you do look fairly nice there, EQ curve-wise. So you could use just a little more top. The thing is, that 27, you don't have a 27, but maybe that you got a 32, maybe a couple of clicks hotter on 32, Roger?
You got a 32, maybe a couple of clicks hotter on 32, Roger?
You think that I'm a little bit too heavy on the bottom?
No.
To advance the 32 a little bit and push up the 24 just a smidge.
Yeah, Tony, I didn't say anything about the bottom, but your bottom is very nice where it was. Don't second guess me now, I mean, I was talking about the top end. Your bottom is nice. I'm looking at it on a spectrum analyzer. I can see exactly where it is, and it really looks nice. When I'm on my local antenna, my receiver's down to 100 cycles. These SDRs are rolling out at 250 somewhere in there, and they don't really have a correct flat bottom end, but my stuff is down to 100 cycles, and you look good down there. It's just you're a little noisy, so I have to come back to Milford to copy you well. So your bottom end was just fine where it was. I was thinking just a little more top end in the syllabic range for articulation at 3200 plus 2 from where you were.
Syllabic range for articulation at 3200 plus 2 from where you were.
I gotcha. I pushed it up a little bit, not too much, just the way you advised, just for experimental, it's fun to try different things. I like to experiment with antennas a little more than audio, but anyway, I did that. This should be a little bit more where you like it. I just brought up the high end just a little bit at 3200, and I don't know, what do you think?
Sounds good to me. I think it's just perfect. You're really good. And if you want to hear your audio, Tony, if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for KC9VKV, followed by the word logbook, that will take you to this recording. It'll be cut number 1 in a series of 2,300 Qso-Vlog Aircheck recordings. So YouTube search KC9VKV logbook, and I'll have it uploaded by noon tomorrow. Roger?
VKV logbook, and I'll have it uploaded by noon tomorrow. Roger?
I gotta wait that long? Okay, I will check that out. I've written that down, KC9 Victor Kilo Victor, and I'll go to logbook. I'll check that out. That sounds good. I appreciate you making a recording and helping me out with the audio. Because there's always room for improvement, that's for sure. So it was a slight adjustment, but obviously the other gentleman said it sounds good here, and then you're saying that it sounds good, so I was lacking a little top end. Didn't know that. That's good. I appreciate your help. Thank you very much.
Roger, Tony. Well, the thing is, life is always a compromise in radio. There's all kinds of things lurking out there to degrade your signal. Some kind of static here, static there, QRM here, there, phase angle distortions, and those things, particularly phase angles, tend to wipe the top end off of your transmission, your audio. If you get bounced back a little bit time delayed, coming back to the same place and both the signals hit, but one part of the signal is 180 degrees out from the other, it starts to cancel, and it starts to cancel from the top and works its way down to the bottom. So what happens if you are, if you're kind of a minimum top end, when you lose that top end, then it's really bass, and you're hard to understand because part of your signal is being decimated by phase angle distortion. So that's why I recommend a brighter signal. Roger. So
that's why I recommend a brighter signal. Roger.
Yeah, well, there's nothing better than a brighter signal, especially when you're talking DX and you're 5.5 or 5.6. I've heard guys that are 5.5, 5.6, and they're not adjusting the audio right, and they're hard to discern, and hard to pick out their call sign. But then there's another guy that's 5.5, 5.6 that has exactly what you need to get through, and that's compression, and that's upper end clarity. And I hear them perfectly. So it makes a lot of sense, and it's great advice. Thank you. I do appreciate that. We'll leave it like that then. There's always room for improvement. And right now, I'm looking to do an antenna experiment, put up another antenna for 40 and 20, and I'm bouncing back and forth to what I want to do. So I don't know if you guys are into antennas, but really the crux of getting out and really putting out a good signal audio is very important, but I think what's as important, if not more important, is your antenna system. Go ahead.
Oh, that's a Roger. That's a Roger. And, the thing about antennas is to have options. One antenna is no option. You're there, and you don't have an option. And when Mother Nature decides to move it to another plane, phasing plane of horizontal versus vertical, you're shot. So the thing is, the more options you have on your antenna system, the better off you are. So we suggest, running maybe a dipole antenna and a vertical, or running a dipole antenna left and right, north and south, and the other one east and west, which gives you a difference of opinion. And with multi-switch, you can switch through those and find out what's hot at the moment. Because the thing is, signals seldom stay the same. They're constantly flexing vertical to horizontal many times. And when a signal fades to you, sometimes it's not really fading, it's just changing from horizontal to vertical. And if you don't have the capability of sampling it vertically, then it just sounds like it faded out, but it just changed to horizontal. So options are always the name of the game on your antennas, Roger.
So options are always the name of the game on your antennas, Roger.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more on that. That's for sure. And I do have options here. I have okay, so off to the side of the house here, I got a 05 ground plane. It's not a ground-mounted vertical, it's a ground plane. So it's 10 feet off the ground with 6 11-foot ground radius. It was a 43-footer, but I didn't... Oh, by the way, I had a ground-mounted vertical before that with 80 ground radius. So I tied the 80 ground radials in from the DX Engineering radio plate to the 80 ground radius. So I'm running the 80 ground radials plus the 6 above ground plane radials to a 31.5-foot radiator, which is a great 40-meter antenna. I could go on it if you'd like. I don't think I'm gonna. My signal might go down because, as we all know, that antenna is basically set up for long-haul, low-angle stuff, and that's what I basically use it for. And then this antenna is my go-to antenna because this thing can tune on 80, 40, and 20 like no other antenna I ever owned. Up at 70 feet, and it's very, very tunable. Impedances, resistance, everything is perfect with the tuner. It tunes very easily. I also have a 80-meter doublet fed with ladder line up at 62 feet, sloping down to 35 feet. But that is going broadside north and south, so I take care of that. This loop, I don't know which way it's radiating, or if anything. I don't know if a loop is actually bidirectional. Not sure at this height. And then my last antenna is a 20-meter monoband beam up at right around 40 feet, and it's a high gain 203 3-element beam. So got 20 covered. I'm still working on 40. And I was thinking, I have 2 trees that are 120 feet in height. I was thinking of shooting that gun over, the potato gun, over those trees and getting a 84-foot in length doublet, which will be a double extended ZEP on 20, and also, I hope, quite tunable on 40 at about 110, 120 feet. And it is going to be broadside northeast, southwest, which is where you want it. So I'm thinking hard about building one and getting it up there. I don't know. What's your input?
Well, I think you should do what you can do to give yourself more options and get yourself in wild anticipation, get yourself an 8-position rotary selector on a, with coax fittings on it. And, then you've got room for expansion, and there's nothing better than to have options. Now, a lot of mine are not, options that, I have the capability of listening as I'm transmitting. So you have to be very careful on your antennas that you have a mute switch when you transmit, that you mute your other antennas so you don't bring RF back into the shack and do smoke tests. Roger?
Back into the shack and do smoke tests. Roger?
Oh, yeah, that's already taken care of. Everything is grounded, and I don't seem to have any RF here. With the exception of one antenna I didn't mention, and that's a rotatable Mosley TA31, which is a driven element of a TA33, up at 50 feet, and that's 10, 15, and 20. So that's a pretty decent antenna. I use it only for 10 and 15. But, one thing I'm concerned with is the Alpha Delta antenna switch. Hopefully I'm getting good isolation from that switch. Seems to be one of the better switches, so that's important. You don't want to be transmitting off of two antennas, 90% off of one, 10% off of another. I don't think that's going to be for good transmission. So much, so technical, so much to learn. Even though I've been a ham since 91, you never know it all, that's for sure. The name here, by the way, is Tony. I didn't get your name.
Roger, Tony, name here is Jim, Juliet, India, Mike. And, the thing is that you might consider that switch is, you're usually only switching the high side of the antennas. So all your ground elements, if you're running unbalanced, or they're all come into play as far as the radiation pattern, because that switch is just switching the high side of the antenna. The ground side are common to all all the inputs to that switch. But just food for thought. Tony, we got to jump out of here, buddy. Let me say 73 till you get to talk at you. And again, if you go to YouTube, do a call letter search, KC9VKV, followed by the word logbook. That will take you to this recording, and I'll have it uploaded by noon tomorrow. Roger, Roger?
That will take you to this recording, and I'll have it uploaded by noon tomorrow. Roger, Roger?
Yeah, Jim, I am definitely going to do that. I'd like to hear myself, because you're strong. By the way, you didn't ask for a signal report. But you're 10 to 15 over S9 here, and I think you're in 9 land. I didn't get your QTH. My QTH is Virginia Beach. Nice day here, 70 degrees, 69 actually, and it's nice. It's a nice day. Got a little warm, slightly humid, and tomorrow's going to be 80. So, but Jim, I will log in tomorrow afternoon and listen to that, and I appreciate that. That's really cool that you could have the capability to do that and have somebody listen to it so I could really hear the fidelity. Anyway, 73s, man. Nice talking to you, and thanks for your help with the adjustment of the audio, and I'm sure that did help, and I'm going to leave it just like this, Jim. So KC9VKV in the group. I know there's a lot of guys out there, and I apologize for taking over here. There's a lot of guys out there, and I apologize for taking over here. But you guys, you take care. I'll be listening. I'll be here. And 73 is Jim, KC9VKV, K2V.
Roger, Roger, Tony, and we also have a spectrum analyzer tied to our audio, and it's showing, the receive audio, shows your audio, and at that last transmission, I went over to my local antenna, which is a little noisier than the SDR, but it's a lot truer as far as low frequency response, and so you can see on the spectrum analyzer, your bottom end there, your whole signal there when I was on local antenna. And there's a display where the input source indicator that will tell you where I am as far as which SDR I'm on or what radio I'm on or whatever. That when I switch things, it lights up and tells you all that, so you can see that. So 73, Tony, and we'll catch you later, sir. This is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout. November Alpha 3 Papa, NA3P, over.
NA3P, is that a Roger?
NA3P, is that a Roger?
That's a Roger, Jim. You have helped me set up several of my radios, but you've never helped me set up this one, I don't think. My Elecraft KX3. I've already got the compressor on at 3 out of 10 or 30%. I have the hand mic that comes with the radio, and I'm using a recommended setting that I found on the internet, but I'm not really sure if If it's flat across the spectrum, then we'll work.
Okay, I need a little more information there. Where are you, what's the name there and where are you located, sir?
A little more information there. Where are you, what's the name there and where are you located, sir?
Name here is Dick, Delta India Charlie Kilo. I'm in Culpeper, Virginia. Culpeper, Virginia, over.
Roger, roger. Okay. The thing is, first we want to try to establish that we're in that 100 to 2900 transmit bandpass mode. If you're not familiar with that, just take a note that we want to be in the 100 to 2900 transmit bandpass mode. Roger?
The 100 to 2900 transmit bandpass mode. Roger?
Roger. I'm in that mode, I believe, over.
Yes, sir. Okay, then we move to a compressor, and compressor on at a 3, a token amount. You'll never hear it on the air, but it helps us with our dynamic 3 dB level at the end here. So compression on at a 3, Roger?
Level at the end here. So compression on at a 3, Roger?
Compressor is, let's see, compressor on.
Yeah, Dick, I'm getting a little sideband QRM there. I don't know. We've been on here for about an hour and 20 minutes, and for somebody to come in a couple of clicks off frequency of this is pretty lame. But anyway, so we got the compressor on at a 3, Roger?
Anyway, we got the compressor on at a 3, Roger?
Yeah, that is correct. Roger, over.
Alrighty, sir. Now move to your ALC with mic gain in hand, and as you say the magic word audio, and you stretch out that audio part and become a human tone generator, I want you to set your ALC at 2/3 by way of mic gain control as you say audio. Roger?
By way of mic gain control as you say audio. Roger?
Okay, let me figure out how to set my ALC real quick. Wait a minute. Let's see. Where's my ALC? Just a second here. Oh, there's my ALC. Okay, let me do something here. Hello. Okay, there's my mic gain. Okay, I'm about, let me see here. Let me turn it back down here. Oh, audio. That's about 2/3 on the ALC right now. Over.
All right, Dick, what we want to do is stretch that word out. It's a perfect tone generator, but stretch it out, and you can make that adjustment just perfect. And it's audio, and just adjust that mic gain, right on 2/3, Roger?
Just adjust that mic gain, right on 2/3, Roger?
Audio. Okay, pretty close to 2/3, over.
Yes, sir. All right, now let's move to the EQ page. And tell me what kind of EQ you got there.
Okay, I've got a 8-band EQ that's built into the radio. And right now, I have it set. Let me go back to this. Wait a minute. Give me a second here.
Dick, you got a copy?
It's all written down here. Let me go.
Dick, you got a copy?
Okay, wait a minute. Okay, I have, with the 8 bands, here's what the dB level from as low as -16 to +16. I've got -16, -16, -14, -4, +3, +9, +16, and +10 across the spectrum, which was recommended by, there's a particular ham who posted some on his website, different settings for the KX3 with different microphones. So it's -16, -16, -14, -4, +3, +9, +16, and +10 across the 8 bands. I can't tell you exactly what frequencies those are.
Yeah, well, that's that's kind of useless. All those frequency positions are useless unless you know what the frequencies are. But it doesn't matter because we're going to do something different. I want you to set everything from 400 cycles to 1.6 flat. Everything from 400 cycles to 1.6K should be flat. The whole idea behind an equalizer is to strike a balance from the top to the mids and the bottom to the mids. And if you push the mids, then it's so much harder for the top and the bottom to catch up. So it's very important to keep the mid-range flat. So important that manufacturers like the 7300 and the 7610 don't even put a mid-range control in there because they want that to remain flat. And then it's just an EQ beautiful thing because you just have two knobs, the top and the bottom, and there you go. It's just beautiful. But in working now, we want everything from 400 cycles to 1.6K flat. Roger?
Cycles to 1.6K flat. Roger?
Roger, we're setting flat here. Give me a couple seconds.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, it's flat across the board now. Over flat. 0 all the way across the board. Over.
Yes, sir. Okay, the second problem is that what you have is a third octave equalizer, which is great in theory, but it doesn't land at the right places as far as EQ for HF radio. And what we're looking for now is to brighten that top end. So you are probably going 2K, 4K is your jump there, 2K, 4K. We want to go plus, you don't have the ideal frequency to boost is 2.7K. Unless you have a parametric EQ and can get 2.7K, we have to do a compromise between 2K and 4K. So it would be everything flat from 400 cycles to 1.5K, and then at 2K, we're going to go to that about plus 3 at 2K, and plus 5 at 4K, plus 5 at 4K, plus say 2 at 2K. Roger?
Plus say 2 at 2K. Roger?
Okay, I plussed up the upper two positions there.
Alrighty, so you're running plus 4 at plus 5, or 4K at plus 5, is that a Roger?
Plus 5, or 4K at plus 5, is that a Roger?
Yes, Roger.
All right, to take that 4K 2 more clicks up to plus 7 or 8, whatever, I've loose count there. Take it up to 8. 4K plus 8. 4K plus 8, Roger?
To 8. 4K plus 8. 4K plus 8, Roger?
It's plus 8, over.
Alrighty, and what I want you to do is tell me in 10 seconds the best thing you'd like about your radio, Roger?
Tell me in 10 seconds the best thing you'd like about your radio, Roger?
Well, I bought this radio used, and what I like about it, it has just about everything I need built into it, especially if you want to take it portable. I need to bypass this thing. It's got a built-in battery pack and a little keyer you can screw on the bottom, so it's got a built-in keyer, and it's even got a 2-meter board, so you can run 2 meters. So it's a pretty built-in antenna tuner. It's got just about everything you need in a little tiny package. Over.
Roger. Okay, how much space do you have till you max out your 4K?
Okay, how much space do you have till you max out your 4K?
I got it now. It goes all the way up to plus 16.
All right, let's take it up to 10, plus 10 at 4K.
Let's take it up to 10, plus 10 at 4K.
Yeah, there's plus 10. I just added 2 more. It's plus 10 now.
All right, take that 2K back 1. back one from where it is. 2K back one click from where it is.
2K back one click from where it is.
Okay, I turned it back one. Turned it back one over.
Alrighty, and tell me in 10 seconds about your antenna system there, and let me hear you.
Alrighty, and tell me in 10 seconds about your antenna system there, and let me hear you.
Okay, my antenna is an end-fed wire by myantennas.com. It's 130 feet long, about 25 feet above ground in my backyard. Goes from my deck to the top of a sycamore tree, so it's sloping upward gently across my backyard. My backyard is free and clear of trees except for the sycamore tree this antenna is hooked up to. Over.
Yes, sir. Okay, what I want you to do, Dick, is go back to your ALC now and reset your level. Anytime you do extensive EQing, you need to go back to your ALC and just verify that that level is still 2/3 on your ALC. As you say, audio, and adjust your mic gain, Roger.
Thirds on your ALC, as you say, audio, and adjust your mic gain, Roger.
Okay, audio. It's pretty much about 2/3 over.
Alrighty, and why don't you tell me in 10 seconds the best thing you like about ham radio, and let me listen to you.
Why don't you tell me in 10 seconds the best thing you like about ham radio, and let me listen to you.
Yeah, somebody on the peanut gallery said I need more in the middle, which I probably agree with, but what I like about ham radio, I've been a ham for 50 years, 50 years, and it's my number one hobby occupied when I go on days of retirement. Over.
Okay, I've got you on my local antenna now, which I'm down to 100 cycles flat, and I need some more audio. Why don't you tell me the best thing about ham radio that you like? And I've got a spectrum analyzer that is perking along here, and let me look at your audio, Roger.
Okay, I don't know, the best thing I like about ham radio is, I don't know, I like to talk to people, I guess, breaks up the boredom of being home alone sometimes when I'm retired. Being home alone sometimes when I'm retired, when the ex-wife's out, so when she's out I'm usually playing ham radio. Over.
Roger. Okay, let's go down to that 200 cycles and plus 2 clicks at 200 cycles and give you a little bottom end there, Roger.
2 clicks at 200 cycles and give you a little bottom end there, Roger.
That's plus 2 from where you are at 200 cycles.
That's plus 2 from where you are at 200 cycles.
Okay, there's plus 2. There's plus 2 on the low end. Over.
Yeah, all right. Now go back and double check your ALC again. And we wanted, that 2/3, because again, we just did 2 click boost on 200 cycles, which can get things hot. So go back to your ALC and check that level again.
Can get things hot. So go back to your ALC and check that level again.
Okay, audio. It's okay, I think. Still 2/3.
Just for kicks, so what is your actual mic gain control setting at the moment?
Your actual mic gain control setting at the moment.
Right now, it's 20 out of, let's see, 20 out of 80. I'm turning back down. It's 20 out of 80, which isn't really that much. Over.
No, it's not. I would run it just like that. Sounds good. And if you want to hear your audio, if you go to YouTube and do a call out a search for KC9VKV, followed by the word logbook, that will take you to this recording. It'll be cut number 1 in a series of 2,300 Qso-Vlog Aircheck recordings, and I'll have it uploaded by noon tomorrow. Roger?
Aircheck recordings, and I'll have it uploaded by noon tomorrow. Roger?
Yeah, roger that. So right now, do you think I'm fairly flat, sounding fairly okay? Over.
Yes, sir. It's it doesn't have a lot of bottom end, but like I say, sometimes a lot of bottom end can get you in trouble when you lose because of phasing the top end. You're left with all that bottom end, and you become Mr. Mumble. So for that reason, I don't really push the bottom end that much. I'm looking for intelligibility mainly. Roger?
That much.
I'm looking for intelligibility mainly. Roger?
Yeah, roger, roger. After this, I will go listen to an SDR, see if it sounds pleasant to my ear. You know, there's a million things you can do with these radios with the built-in equalizers. They're really nice. Over.
Oh yeah, well, like I say, equalizer is the name of the game. You know, it's got a job to function as far as the band. You know, HF radio. You're limited somewhat by the 3KC thing. So you're not full fidelity there, but through equalization we can approximate some good articulation, and that's the whole thing. So you know, when you're buried under 1,000 signals and all kinds of noise and whatnot, the folks can hear what you're saying and understand what you're saying. That's the important thing, to be able to understand what you're saying. It's it doesn't do any good to be heard if the people can't figure out what you're saying. So if some folks tend to run their mics up to 100%, and they have about a dB dynamic range or a half a dB dynamic range, and what happens is the words start to blur. When you pass 3 dB dynamic range, your words start to blur, and that just shoots you in the foot as far as folks being able to hear what you're saying when you're in a bad situation noise-wise, or carriers, or all that stuff. Roger?
In a bad situation noise-wise, or carriers, or all that stuff. Roger? Yeah, roger that. Well, thanks for your help, Jim. I'll let some other people jump in there, and I'm going to move off frequency and dial up an SDR receiver and see what I sound like to my ear with my headphones on. Over.
Yes, sir. Now, what you should consider is that the normal SDR rolls out at about 250 cycles. I think if you really want to hear what you sound like, there's Arlington SDR that is fairly low frequency, that will kind of help you determine where what your signal is. Roger?
Help you determine where what your signal is. Roger? Yeah, Arlington SDR. I'll try to find it. Is it one of the ones on the web SDR website? Over?
Yeah, and Alexandria also. Arlington and Alexandria, both of those. One of them is really heavy in the bottom side, flat, but has a nice bottom in response. And it is, I think that's that listing of everybody across the world. Roger?
I think that's that listing of everybody across the world. Roger? Yeah, I'll look for it. Well, thanks for your help again. This is NA3P.
Roger, Roger, Dick 73, sir. And gosh, I see by the clock on the wall, there's a dead fly. Ooh, we got to get out of here. We turned into a pumpkin 10 minutes ago. So, gosh, if you would like to hear your audio and you participated, if you go to YouTube, do a call letter search, KC9VKV, followed by the word logbook, will take you to this recording. It'll be cut number 1 in a series of 2300 on a YouTube search, and I'll have it uploaded by noon tomorrow. So, this is KC9VKV, returning the frequency back to normal amateur radio use. Kilo Charlie 9 Victor, Kilo Victor, clear.